Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour. Aaron, we're up to episode 49 on 4-9, which we were obviously on episode 47 on 4-7, and yesterday we were episode 48 on 4-8. I thought that was interesting. I just noticed it today. We have a lot to get to. We're going to just talk a few minutes about what Rachel talked to us yesterday about Indiana Grand, just to kind of recap for people who might have missed. We'll spend 5 minutes or so, nothing crazy. Then we'll get to some stakes action for tomorrow. Obviously, there's stakes action at Keeneland today as well, which we'll dive into with our pick four. So that's kind of two birds with one stone, as they like to say. 8 stakes races to cover. And then we'll talk a little bit at the end about your trip to Hot Springs, which will be coming up actually probably in an hour or so, hour and 15 minutes. You told me before the show that you'll be heading there. So I'm excited for you to kind of tell us what you're looking for, how excited, you are getting back to the track and things like that. Like always, folks, I tell you ahead of time, I don't listen to blinkers off the night before. So I don't. So I hear Aaron's picks fresh. Hopefully you guys did. And if you're interested to hear more coverage, please tune in after this. Play it on your podcast, stream it if you want to get some interactive, and play it in the background. Aaron, how was your night last night? And we'll dive right into it. What did you think of what Rachel McLaughlin told us about Indiana Grand, or her view on horse racing, or maybe there's something you learned that you didn't know, or any key takeaway that you want to share with the rest of us?
Yeah, Rachel was great, right? She was fantastic yesterday. What a just a really nice person, very knowledgeable, worked a lot of different jobs in horse racing, and definitely within the production of what happens at Indiana Grand. So hard to not be a Rachel fan. I was thrilled to have her on, and great guest. Hopefully she comes on again sometime. We talk about her cup of tea there, Indiana Grand. Although she did well at Keeneland too. So it's not like she's a one-trick pony. So yeah, really cool to have her on. The drone footage at Indiana Grand. I mean, I just think that's what everybody seems to be really excited about. And good for them for trying different things. I think that's kind of the biggest thing. As you know, I'm not as young as I used to be, but I'm still young for a horse racing fan. Just trying different things, doing different things, showing us something different. We're willing to take a chance. And I love it. So hopefully that all works out well, and people love that aspect of what they're trying to do there. Yeah,
to your point, whether it works or not is not the moral of, I think, what you're trying to say. It's more so, you gave it a shot. And if it works, fantastic, then other tracks will adopt it or try to implement it. I think she actually said yesterday that Indiana Grand kind of owns that. So other tracks might have to reach out to Indiana Grand if they want to use it. But at least they're trying, right? It might be an utter failure or it might be an utter success. We have no idea, so that's fair. For me, I think you touched on it. She's worked so many different jobs in this industry, so she really knows all the different tiers. The first question I asked you and her, again, they're fans of horse racing, as horses. They're fans of the atmosphere, whether that's drinking your beers and you're betting and you're hanging out. It's especially like a place like Saratoga, and to Aaron's point at Del Mar, he doesn't even want to go. Just the atmosphere. Yeah. And then you actually have the wagering and the betting and your personal opinions. And she said she kind of agreed. That's a great point. There really are 3 tiers to this sport. And it's not all about the wagering. For me, that's how I got into it, because when I was 10, when I was first introduced into it, I'm pretty sure I wasn't drinking beer. Can't confirm nor deny, but I'm pretty sure New York State and my father didn't agree. So no, it was just cool to kind of get her opinion. And the Aaron, you'll laugh because we always banter. She actually invited us to Indiana Grand. She said, "You guys, we'll try to get you guys on camera." which is shocking because usually to me, people after talking to me one time, and I don't know how you do it, people are like, oh, I'm done with this guy. Like, enough already. But she was kind enough to invite us out. And again, Aaron will make the drive if we can do it. Shocking for me. I'll fly to Indianapolis and rent a car. That's just kind of our different mentalities. But no, please, if you didn't get a chance to, check that out. It was yesterday's episode. You can watch it on my Twitter, or you can watch it on the Racing Dudes Twitter, or anyone's. Mike Somich's, Curtis, and Slim as well, Saratoga Slim, anyone. It's all the same thing. So if you want to, she talked about Indiana Grand, and then we did the Keeneland Pick 4. So if you just want to dive in, please do. Aaron, we're going to start with Oaklawn's card tomorrow. I figured we would do Oaklawn first because that's where you're heading, and then we would just do Keeneland for Saturday, and then we're doing Keeneland today. Just figured it was a better structure that way. You know me, I'm very alphabetical, so you would have thought I did Keeneland first. But we're going to go to Oaklawn just to make things a little bit easier. You guys can see there. We're going to start off with the Carousel Stakes. They have 4 stakes at Oaklawn tomorrow. The Carousel Stakes for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, going 6 furlongs. A nice little sprint here. And Aaron, on paper, it looks like it's Frank's Rocket versus Edgeway, but I think Steve Asmussen might have something to say with Casual 4-1, Wildwood's Beauty at 5-1. Is it a 2-horse race for you, or is there maybe someone at a price that could upset these top 2?
Yeah, I kind of think it is a 2-horse race. I like Casual for Steve Asmussen, but not enough to beat one of the top 2. I went with the slightly higher price in the number 5 Edgeway to kind of pull off an upset here. I think these two are pretty evenly matched on paper. I love that Edgeway gets Rosario here. And, Frank's Rocket, this horse is really good, but it's not like she's just like a dominant world-beating type. So I went with a little bit of the higher price with Edgeway, thinking, Frank's Roquette's certainly going to be the favorite. Is going to get pounded, I think, here. Edgeway coming off a really good race at Santa Anita, won an allowance by 3. So I think she wheels back here at Oaklawn and wins.
I'm kind of with you. I really am. I do believe it's a 2-horse race, but I kind of like what Edgeway's been doing. Has done well here at Oaklawn Park. Lost to Kamari by 2 lengths, and I was the clown, and I'll use that word, clown, who tried to beat Kamari last time. Now, granted, that race versus Kamari was last year, but she's done well at Oaklawn, and Aaron knows better than anyone. You need to have some Oaklawn success, I think, to run in a race like this. Frank's Rocket is extremely talented and did win here as well over a muddy surface. That was her second time over the track, I believe. And then the other one was in a stakes race. She finished just ahead of Edgeway when they dueled last time out on April 4th in the Purple Martin of last year. I kind of remember Aaron and Jared coming on, and all they had to talk about was Oaklawn, really. At this point, stakes race-wise, it was really, really slow. They were really trying to drudge out an hour. So I do remember that. But I'm kind of with Aaron. I believe if you want to get through the sequence, you probably just need the 4 or 5. That's just my opinion. But to sum it up, Aaron and I both believe Edgeway are the preferred choices for us. Let's move on to the next stakes race. It's going to be race 9. It's going to be the Oaklawn Mile Stakes for 4-year-olds and upward. Aaron, here we have another nice group. Excuse me, I'm going to scroll down here and then I'll let Aaron go. I think there are a lot of horses that could really make a case. We know what By My Standards was doing last year. A lot of people, including myself, said By My Standards might be one of the best older horses in the country. Kind of faded a little bit as the year went on. And can you blame him, really? I mean, he had such a nice campaign. And he was, Aaron, to your point, we talked about this all the time. He was one of the few horses that actually stayed running consistently last year. A lot of horses during COVID kind of just stopped. Like the rest of us. So By My Standards 5-2 morning line. I'm going to try to beat him. Are you?
I am. I do have ultimate respect for this horse, though. And I think By My Standards, if you put him on a ticket, that's probably smart. But yeah, I am going to try to beat him. The pace sets up pretty well for a closer. So that does kind of help maybe By My Standards a bit. But I went with the 4-horse Rushy, another closer. And this is a horse that I think is getting ready to have a pretty good year. He was progressing pretty nicely, and then he ran into a buzzsaw at the Breeders' Cup, and that was kind of it. Nick's Go just murdered everybody that day. But, I think this is a really good spot for him just to start off his year. And you look at the workouts, this horse has been tearing up the track at Santa Anita. He's ready to run. Another horse that gets Rosario to ride. I'm a fan of Michael McCarthy as a trainer. I think he does a really good job spotting his horses. So I think Rushie's going to be ready. So I'm gonna go number 4 Rushie on top here.
Yeah, again, I'm with Aaron. I'm taking Rushy also. I should have just listened to him last night. I could have saved myself multiple hours handicapping this card, and I could have just listened to Aaron, and then I could have blamed him for if everything goes wrong. But I'm kind of with him. He had a really, really nice end to his 2020 campaign. Now, I was a little surprised that it was so short because he did finish up in September, and then I didn't think he really belonged in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and he lost to Nixgo or K-Nixgo. I don't know how you even say that horse's name anymore. I don't think that's fair to judge him off of that race because, to be brutally honest, he didn't belong, like I said. He was 29-1, so maybe he belonged in terms of a talent, but on paper he didn't. This horse can close, and I think the key is this is going to have a lot of speed. If you look like a horse like Blackberry Wine and Wells Bayou, and even a horse like The Sound, all these horses have speed. Even I think Pioneer Spirit will show some moving barns from Robertino Diodoro. This sets up really, really well for Rushy. So Aaron said Rushy, but I'm looking at it more from a pace perspective. So again, 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 0 is 4. We're at the same conclusion for a few different reasons. And I agree with Aaron as well. By my standards, I'm going to try to beat him, but I think it's a price that I want to do it at. Like if by my standards was 8-1, which he wouldn't ever be probably, but 8-1, then that's a horse I want to use. It's just a value for me. And I prefer Wells Bayou because I think he is the fastest of the fast speed horses. And he's better at a mile. Like I don't think Wells Bayou really wants to go much more than a mile. He's proven it. I think he's a true miler. I think that's where he's best. So I even consider a horse like Wells Bayou more than by my standards. Let's move on to the next stakes race here. It's race 11, the Count Fleet Sprint. Aaron, we've seen this now 2 times in a row. We're going to see it for the 3rd time. Whitmore, CZ Rocket doing battle. They did battle last time out in, again, their last 2 races. The last race most recently here was a $200,000 Hot Spring Stakes, and I remember the talk was, I can't believe these 2 horses are going to do battle in this type of race, right? There's not really much on the line. Obviously, they faced off in the sprint. We saw Whitmore get the best of CZ Rocket then. Then we saw CZ Rocket come back. So I guess this is like the rubber match. That's 2 out of 3. I don't mind seeing this all year. What are we thinking here between CZ Rocket, Whitmore, maybe another horse that's going to shock
Yeah,
us?
Fantastic race once again. I mean, anytime you see these 2 in a race, it's going to be great. This is going to be a hell of a race. I mean, we saw it last time out. Nothing hardly separated him. I think a neck for CZ Rocket. I think Whitmore is going to be a little bit more in form. He lost some days, about a couple weeks actually, training when the winter weather came in at Oaklawn. Had to stop on him. I think he's going to be a little more tuned up now. I think Whitmore turns the tables on CZ Rocket here, but neither one are going to surprise me. This is going to be another classic duel between these 2.
Finally, Aaron and I are splitting up. We're like that power couple. I came on here, and again, yesterday I came on. I said I was wrong about someone. I was just wrong about Kamari. I'm not patting myself on the shoulder. Aaron knows more than anyone I'm willing to come on here when I'm wrong, and I'm willing to come on here when I'm right. I was right about CZ Rocket, and I said I think he's more talented. The problem is we just saw a crazy performance out of Whitmore in the Breeders' Cup. Like no one was beating him on that day. No 7 furlong sprinter was beating him. No one. And I said on a given day, I'll take CZ Rocket, but on their best day, I'm taking Whitmore. So I have to stick with that theory. I think CZ Rocket's just a little bit more talented. It would have to take a crazy performance to beat CZ Rocket. And Whitmore's capable of it, but he is more like this. I'm trying to keep my hand. More like this. CZ Rocket is just like that. So I'll take the more consistent one every day. And to your point, Aaron, and people still go on the Whitmore, Oaklawn thing, which is great. I agree. But CZ Rocket obviously proved last time out that he can run here. Like when you're that talented, I don't want to hear from people he can't run. We're not talking about Arkansas bred horses. Like he can run. extremely talented. So Aaron and I are going to split up, but I think it's still a 2-6, 6-2 type of race. I don't think you'd have many arguments. All right, Aaron. We have the fantastic Arkansas Derby. This is probably the most anticipated Arkansas Derby ever. Field of 6. We have Concert Tour at even money. Joel Rosario, Bobby Baffert. I'm calling him Bobby for now. And we have Hosier. Hosier and the shipper from California. That's where he started. I know it says KY there for Kentucky bred, but this horse was running for Baffert out there. And we have Caddo River, who faced Concert Tour, and I believe still hasn't finished that race. He's attempting to finish it. Caddo River lost by 6 3/4. All right, solidify the argument that Concert Tour is the Kentucky Derby favorite. I know you're all over him, and tell me not only why he's going to win, but what you're looking for to see out of him since you're going to be there live tomorrow afternoon.
Well, hopefully he solidifies it for himself tomorrow. You know, I just think he's sitting on a monster race. This is the second time going long, and that usually bodes big improvement, especially for Bob Baffert horses in particular. I just think Concert Tour rolls here. The only scenario where I see him losing, I think Caddo River, they're just going to send that horse as hard as they can. And if for some reason Concert Tour gets out of the gate kind of slow, can't go up and get position or kind of pressure Caddo River, then maybe he just kind of takes them gate to wire. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think Caddo River sends hard. I think Concert Tour breathes down his neck, and then I think he puts him away in the stretch for what should be an easy win. There's no way I would not put Concert Tour on top here. I think he's going to show us why he should be the favorite on the first Saturday in May. And the big thing I need to see, we've seen him blow out competition. We've seen him fight to the wire to win a race. We need to see a fast time and a fast figure from him, period. So I think watch the clock. Put a minute 50 in your mind. He should be at least a minute 50. If he's higher than that, you may start to worry based on how the track has been playing the last few days at Oaklawn. If he's below a minute 50, I think he's done his job here. So I think that's the big number to watch.
I'm with you, obviously, on Concert Tour, but there is a point I want to make, and I wrote this in my product for tomorrow. That's not obviously out yet, only today's is. But I said if you were on Caddo River when these two faced each other last time out, Caddo River, I'll go over what his odds were. He was 6-5, so he was the favorite. Concert Tour was 8-5. If you were on Caddo River then, why are you not on Caddo River now from an underneath type of horse? And what I mean by that is Hosier, if you look at Hosier and Caddo River, yes, Hosier finished ahead of Caddo River, but Hosier just passed tired horses, one of them being Caddo River. So I'm looking at Caddo River, and Aaron, you like Concert Tour, so do I, but I think you'd have to be naive, in my opinion. I think Caddo River's just not talented at all. I don't think that's the case. You know, there are some horses that come into these preps where we don't know, like a Prevalence. I think we're looking at a Prevalence who ran at the Wood, and we're like, he's just not that talented. We try to build him up, but he's just not that talented. A horse like Wayburn, clearly, not highly motivated. Who's the other one? Risk trading. I don't know. One of the other ones. Chad Brown ran up there. It's just like those horses aren't talented. I think Caddo River is talented. So I looked at it more. Yes, if you want to use Concert Tour, fine. You're going to take a short price, but don't hop off the Caddo River bandwagon. And by some miracle, if Concert Tour doesn't run his best race, I believe Caddo River is the horse that would get it done. Because to your point, Caddo River has to go, right? And you're going to need a monstrous effort to beat him. And I don't think Hosier, of a horse that wants to come from well out of it, is going to be able to do that. So I did use Caddo River just because I'm hoping I'm getting some massive price and knock people out. But I'm with you. Concert Tour is the choice to be. He is the horse to beat. And I would assume at this point at 11:19 on Friday morning Eastern time, he is the Kentucky Derby favorite as they break the gate.
I think this is a really good point. I read this too. Flo is going to ride Mandaloon, and so that kind of tells you Caddo. I don't know if he's coming back. I mean, I get what you're doing. That's not a knock for you, Ricky. It's just I don't know. That last race was just like, oh boy, it was bad. So, but yeah, he's people remember this. Caddo River was the favorite to win the Rebel. Okay, so he was highly regarded by bettors, not just people that are talking heads. So you got to think there's something more than what he showed in that last race to him. And like I said, if Concert Tour, if something happens and he doesn't get out of the gate well, or he just doesn't run well, Caddo River is loose. There's nobody else with speed. So listen, if you're going to spice up this pick 4 and pick 5, you got to get Concert Tour beat. So I'm not going to talk you off using another horse here.
Yeah.
It's betting versus handicapping, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't think a horse like, if you're going to close in a quality field, this is my belief. If you're going to close, and you're going to do it, I'm looking at the time form picture here, and I won't show it because it's their product. Hosier's going to be, I don't know, Aaron, what, 8-10 lengths back into the first turn, or
right.
At least, maybe not in the first turn, 6 lengths, and then as they get into the backstretch, 8 lengths, whatever it is. You're not 8 lengths better than no. Concert Tour. So basically what you're saying is that Caddo River and Concert Tour between Flo Giroux and Joel Rosario, they beat each other to a 22-2. That's your only hope. At least with Caddo River, I say, you know what, maybe he gets brave. Maybe he gets brave on the front end and just goes. And Concert Tour's not ready for it, or Rosario's not ready for it. And the point about Mandaloun, I mean, they'll find a rider. Because trust me, if Caddo River beats Concert Tour, is Caddo River not 4-1, 5-1 in the gate now? So
yeah, I mean, things could rapidly change. I think what that means more than anything is they're like, Flo's already committed to the other one, which kind of tells you they're not expecting something huge from Caddo River here.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I get that, but it's not like they're not going to get a quality rider. How shitty, and I excuse my language, how shitty would Florent Giroux feel if Caddo River beats this horse? Seriously, right? And fair enough, he committed. I don't know if Mandaloun's that much better than Caddo River.
Right.
Like, that's my thing. It's one thing if it's like, all right, you got a shot on Life is Good. And granted, Life is Good's not running. But you got a shot on Life is Good. Okay, I'm with you. Make that move. I'm completely with you.
Yeah.
You're taking Mandaloun. I don't know if that's a better move or not. So,
right.
To me, maybe he was forced to make that move. But even if what if Caddo River even finished second by 2 lengths? I'd still rather have Caddo River. So
yeah,
I don't know. To Nick's point, which is a fair one, I don't disagree. It's a strong statement by Florent Giroux. Mind you, you still got to ride Caddo River. It's one thing if you weren't going to ride him anymore. Now you're going to ride him, and I'm sure he wants to win. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens there. Yeah. Let's move on to the Ben Ali Stakes for 4-year-olds and upward. We're now at Keeneland, 1 1/8 miles. Field of 5, Aaron. I don't know. I feel like you have to use night ops, and I feel like this is one of those Flagstaff races to me, what we saw last time. I'm going to use night ops, and I'm not going to watch the race, and I hope when I click the TVG results, it just says night ops. I don't want to watch it because I'm going to have to stress myself out over a short price. Are you going to do the same? I know you'll be at Oaklawn, so you may or may not be watching, but right? It feels like one of those races, like you just got to pray that your single gets through, because
this race is the reason I went to Oaklawn, so I didn't have to watch this, because I would have to watch it if I was at home, right? So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm hoping I find something to do tomorrow. Exactly at 4:24. At 4:20, I'm okay. At 4:24, I hope I find something better to do. I
hate this race. I stupidly went with Treasure Trove again, just as let's take a price with somebody. Listen, I don't dislike Night Ops as a horse, but he's not that good. I mean, we've seen that over and over from him. And I'm with you, Ricky. He should win, no question. And I'll use him, but I did throw Treasure Trove in there, the 2-horse, cutting back in this race. He's the only horse cutting back, so there's that. This is a consistent horse, right? He comes with a run every time. It's not tremendously fast, but I just kind of feel like this is a paceless race. They're all going to kind of just group together. And sometimes when that happens, the horse that just has that little bit of a closing kick more than the other horses in the race will just kind of pass him because he's within range. You talked about Hosier and how he's going to be 12 behind those good horses. Well, hell, he'll never make it up unless they just stop. and that's not going to happen. With Treasure Trove, he's going to at least be well within range, turning for home, and he might just outkick them all. So at 8-1, I took a swing with Treasure Trove.
I'm going to pull a U.
Okay.
You betting on Treasure Trove is essentially betting on me, because granted he's consistent and he is cutting back. I can't believe this horse ran in the Allen Jerkins in a 2-mile turf race. I don't know what the heck that was. And then runs in a mile on a muddy and an allowance, can't beat Defender and Hopcat, and then runs in a stake race at a 1.5 miles in a Temperance Hill. Like, is it me, Aaron, or is this the worst training job I've ever seen? Like, they have what is the plan with this horse? Every time I watch Treasure Trove, I have to bet against him. I don't if that horse showed up anywhere that's a normal, like a halfway competitive race, I have to bet against him. Now, granted, he will be a price. So, and which you did mention, what the hell is Mike Maker doing? I've never been more critical of Mike Maker ever. This horse hasn't won since an allowance race over a sloppy track at Indiana Grand. Shout out to Rachel, who happened to have on, by a neck. That horse wins by a neck. And now we're putting him in a 2-mile graded stakes race at Gulfstream on the turf. Like, I mean, I don't know what the heck is going on with that horse. He should run in the Trail's End. Maybe I'll play him in the Trail's End. Piece of crap. I'm going to use Night Ops because, to your point, I don't know who to take. To be honest, he did win the Cornhusker last year, and he's run decently here. The other horse that I was interested in a little bit is Beau Luminari. I guess I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of them. I wish this was the first race in the history of races that we could have no winners. Literally, no one wins. I don't care who crosses the wire first. I don't care what jockey does what. I don't care what trainer pays off the other trainer. No one wins. This race is a no contest, and it doesn't count because that's how bad I hate this one. Nick says, Castellano is my bugaboo jockey. If I take Night Ops, this will be the photo of all photos. Yeah, this has stress written all over it.
Yes.
After 2 minutes. That's why you can't watch it. You have to just look at the results and pray your horse is up there. So Aaron, luckily for Aaron, he won't be there. I'll probably have to shoot him a text saying, "Hey, Aaron, Sprawl won. What was his price? 97-1." That's what I'm gonna have to text him. And Aaron's just gonna send me an LOL. I send him more emojis than Aaron. He just sends LOL. That's when I know he's laughing. Let's move on. I can't talk about that anymore. Let's move on to the Giants Causeway Stakes. This is a normal race. This is a race we can dive into. For fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. So you know that this is my type of thing. I love this race. We have a lot of classy horses, right? We have a horse like Jakarta. If you guys aren't familiar with Jakarta has some fantastic wins going back to a long time ago. Starter Stakes. Ran well in the Franklin to Got Stormy and to Intimistic. Has done some really, really nice things at Saratoga. Ran in the Caress, finished second to a horse named Kariba. And then we have a horse like LZ who's just whatever you do with LZ, she's fantastic. So those are just, and then we have Intimistic 2-1 who's run against LZ on multiple occasions. So Aaron, where did you go? It kind of feels like Intimistic and LZ are on paper going to look to battle this one out again.
Yep, I think you're right. The biggest thing for me, why I went Intimistic over LZ this time, Irad Ortiz, that was a big factor. The last time they faced on the turf, Intimistic got the best of LZ. And if you've been watching races at Keeneland, the speed horses have kind of struggled a little bit over this turf course. There's going to be some give in the ground. It's a beautiful day today, and so we'll talk about those races here soon. But there is going to be a little bit of rain coming up on Saturday. So I think Intimistic kind of tucks on the rails, sits back just a bit, and passes LZ in the stretch. And I have confidence that Ortiz will give this horse a good ride. So I'm going to go Intimistic on top.
I went against Intimistic. I put her, I believe, 4th. Now, I'm just praying this thing doesn't chalk out. I used LZ. It's one of those where, like, if there was a scratch or two, I wouldn't mind, so I could get Intimistic in there. The problem is I'm just afraid that this thing just chalks out really, really bad.
Yeah.
What I'm left as a result is a pick 5 sequence, especially with some of the horses that we're going to be talking about coming in the next race or two. It's just getting very chalky. So it's more so for me just trying to get a price home. I believe she is the horse to beat. I don't know. It seems like she's not that much better than LZ. And maybe she is, right? If she is that much better, then I guess I'll be the one to do it. I just looked again. I put her 3rd. I also used the 10, though, Jakarta.
Mm-hmm.
So if Jakarta on her best day, I think is actually better than both of these, to be brutally honest. She's a little bit more inconsistent. She has that Whitmore feel. Like when she runs well, she's great. When she doesn't run well, it's a little question mark worthy. It's interesting. This is a race we talked about yesterday. It was like the 1-2 or 2-6, and it ended up being the 1 Promise Keeper. I kind of think it's the same thing. It's like you're 1-3 or 1-10 or 3-10, and I'm going 3-10 because I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. I'm willing to throw out a price because you're right. Brent Intimistic's probably slightly better, but going to be hammered probably 8-5, or I think you can get 3-1. So that's just a difference for me. Intimistic's a fantastic horse. Nick says first time IRAD, Talamo Road. Yeah, I mean Intimistic's good. I'm not going to sit here and say she's not.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next race, the Stone Street Lexington Stakes, Grade 3. This is the last time you can get any points here in Kentucky. Again, the Arkansas Derby and this race, that's it, and then it's done. So whatever you have, that's it. It's 1 1/16 miles for 3-year-olds. And Aaron, this is my point, right? We're going to see some horses that have run recently, and I'll start here with the 1. I'm not going to go through them all, but we're going to see horses that probably shouldn't be in this spot, but they need to give it a shot. We have a horse like Bezos, who just won a maiden, going to ship out here in a couple weeks. A horse like Hockey Dad just ran in the Jeff Ruby to Like the King and Sainthood, going to try to get some more points. Proxy needs points. I mean, yeah, this is an interesting spot, right, Aaron? Because not only trying to handicap, but you have to get into the minds of these trainers and say, are they running on 2 weeks because they're ready? Or are they running on 2 weeks notice because even if they get 5 or 10 points or whatever it is, I don't know the point, 10 or 20, whatever, I don't know, they need to get in. And a horse like Proxy, I believe, is sitting right on the outside, right? So Proxy probably needs a 3rd place finish to get enough. Again, there are a couple scratches out of that gate. But it's just interesting. You have a lot more that has to go into your mind here. And we have a big field. It's not like the Arkansas Derby. So how much did he put that into your mind? Like we're trying to get into the trainers or connections heads here.
Yeah, big time. And are we using this for a Derby prep or are we using this for a Preakness prep? I think it's equally important to look at it like that too, because I think some of these are maybe thinking, okay, we're going to go Preakness here. Listen, it kind of starts with Proxy. This horse is the classiest one of the field, but boy, he's had trouble finishing off a stakes race. 3 straight times we've seen this horse just kind of hang. If he wins, I think he's just going to have to be a lot the best. I think if he gets in a battle, he's not going to win. So I took a shot against him. I do think you have to put him on a ticket. I took a shot against with the number 2 Swiftsure for Steve Asmussen, and there's my guy again, Irad Ortiz, getting aboard. This horse does have to stretch out in distance here, so that is a big question. But he has been dominant in 2 races. He broke his maiden at the fairgrounds impressively, and then the next time out comes back and dominates Allowance Company at Oakland Park. Now, both those were 6 furlong races. Now we're going a mile and 16th, but it's a good spot for him to try to stretch out. It's a tough stakes field, but it's not overly tough. So I took Swiftsure on top. I'm very interested on the number 5 Unbridled Honor as a long shot as well. The Pletcher horses are really running well right now. You know, a couple weeks ago, he had no Derby runners. Now he's got them everywhere. This horse, I think, will come up and run a pretty improved race. So, yeah, those are the 2 I like. I'll throw Proxy in there as well. He's going to be in the mix. There's no question about that.
You said you felt like you had to do something. You never have to do anything you don't want on this show. I tried to also beat Proxy, but I did it with another horse, and I did it with that horse, Hockey Dad.
Yeah.
Now I did put Swiftsure third, so it's not like I think Swiftsure is a piece of garbage because I went 7, 6, 2, 10. You went, I guess, 7, 2, 6, 10, or 10, 6, or like something in the range, right?
Yeah, I went 2, 7, 5, 6. So, but
Okay,
I did throw the 6 in there, so I'm with you.
Yeah, we're in the same kind of boat. Just
Yeah.
you're on one end of the boat, I'm on the other end of the boat, but we're on the same boat. The thing about hockey, Dad, and we're so quick in horse racing, and I guess I'm part of this. We're so quick to say, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, why is that a 100-point race? Do we know that Like the King is going to be dreadful in the Kentucky Derby? We don't know that. We thought Prime Factor was the second coming of Justify. We have no idea. We thought Uncle Chuck was the second coming of Justify last year. This can of gum was better than Uncle Chuck in the Travers. We don't know that Like the King is going to be bad. And one person named Mike Somich is all over Sainthood. So I'm just saying maybe that race isn't as bad as we think. And I'm the first guy to come on here and say I don't love synthetic races, a.k.a. Woodbine. But that race, to me, it was a pretty quick 23-2, 47-1. I don't know. I'm with you, Aaron. I think Proxy is prime for a pick, and Proxy is going to have to come from well back. There are a few comments here. I think Proxy. Someone said Unbridled Honor. Pletcher's on fire. You know what? You know what's interesting, Aaron? Pletcher's on fire. I don't think any of those horses have a shot. So, like, and I'm not saying he's not on fire, but it's like I'm not, and I'm one of the biggest Todd Pletcher fans ever. But I'm going to be critical when you have all these horses at Gulfstream that none of them panned out, right? I don't think any of the Gulfstream runners are right off the top of your head. Are any of the Gulfstream Pletchers heading to the Derby? I don't think any of them, right, Aaron?
Right.
And I believe so. So correct me if I'm wrong. Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think so. I'm not giving him credit now for getting tier C and D horses in his barn there. I'm not doing it. And I might be outspoken and I might be wrong, but I'm not doing that. Like Sainthood in his book was what, his 10th best 3-year-old probably coming into the year. I'm not giving him credit now and saying he's going to get hot. Proxy. Yeah, he might be behind Midnight Bourbon and Mandaloon. I don't know. Like, do you agree with that? I would say he's second. I would put Midnight Bourbon and then Proxy, but he could be third. And if that's the case, you can't use Proxy at 6-5.
Exactly. I agree.
Nick says Known Agenda. Did he start at Gulfstream, Known Agenda? Or was he at Tampa?
His first race was at Tampa, and then he went to Gulfstream.
Okay, so I'm not right. That doesn't count either. Because, again, we've seen this with the Chad Brown. He sends his worst horses to Tampa, and then if they're good enough. It's like sending them to Monmouth. He sends them to Monmouth, then he'll bring them back to Belmont if they're good enough. It's like spring training. So I don't know. I'm kind of with Aaron. I think Proxy is right. Prime for an upset here, and 6-5 is too crazy of a price for me to just single here. Let's go to the Coolmore Jenny Wiley Stakes, Grade 1, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds, and upward. Another talented field, Aaron, but I think we can eliminate a couple. I don't want to say a bunch. I don't want to say all. Which way are you going here? This kind of looks like a very, very talented group.
Yeah, this is a hell of a race. I mean, it's only 6 horses, but man, is this a good race or what? I went Juliet Foxtrot on top. I've always liked this horse. I think to kind of steal from you, the horses like this, right? Really consistent. The biggest thing here, though, boy, the pace just looks like it's going to set up really well for this horse. There does not look to be any other speed. This kind of reminds me of Jouster last Saturday. That horse had the pace advantage so high over everybody else. I think Juliet Foxtrot could have the same here. I think she's got a great shot to take him gate to wire.
Aaron, I'm completely with you. I love Juliet Foxtrot, and here's why. To your point, we talk about these stakes runners, and like they're not as flashy. Like, for example, I'll briefly dive into Juliet Foxtrot, and I guess we don't really have to talk about too many others. She just consistently runs well. Lost to Viadera, but then ran well in the Gallarette. Beau Recall in the a Longines Churchill Distaff Turf Mile. That was, I believe, on the Kentucky Derby day. Beau Recall, newspaper of record. Like, I'm not going to blame her for that. And to be honest, you need to run a fantastic race. It's like that CZ Rocket. Like, if you're going to run like that, you bet one of these fillies and mares, one of these older, either Michelin or Tama here or whatever is the filly, and the rest are mares. You better run a fantastic race, and because Juliet Foxtrot, in like on a scale of 0 to 100, she's going to run a 96 because she always does. You better run a 97 through. I won't say 100 because there's no such thing. You better run through a 97 or 99 in my book, not time, form, or buyer, just on a grade like you go to school. You better run an A+ race because she is really, really good. And I'll take that price too. I really wouldn't mind it. If I get that price, that'll be a win bet for me a minute or two before. Etoile is a short price I would throw out. This is from Mark. She ran up at Ricky's favorite, Woodbine. Oh, favorite Woodbine. Yeah, I hate Woodbine. And she didn't meet much. The connections in the price. Yeah, so Etoile, I mean, in the Taylor Stakes against Court Return and Secret Message, won by a neck. I mean, that's not going to be good enough. And off the layoff, no less. That's not going to be good enough. And then Michelin, I don't know what she's beaten. Her last race was the Hillsborough. I mean, and then she faced Harvey's Little Goyle, and Harvey's Little Goyle at one time was a dirt horse. So I'm with Aaron here, Juliet Foxtrot for us. All right, we have to get to today's Keeneland card. You know why, Aaron? Because you have to get to Hot Springs, and more importantly, because there's so many stakes races. We're gonna go the TVG Limestone Turf Sprint Stakes. I get like a tongue twister saying half of these names. For 3-year-old fillies going 5.5 furlongs, another turf one. And we talked about a horse, Karimba, before. And we'll talk maybe a little bit more again. The 2 threat level midnight, I think I said that right, is out 50-1. And Igloo, Umberto Rispoli, is going to ride out as well. All right, Aaron, so we're scratched down here. I'm trying to get them all. I think we're down to a field of 11, I believe now. Hopefully my math is proper. Where are you going to go in this spot? I think, again, this is a wide open race, and these turf sprints are incredibly difficult to figure out.
Yeah, isn't this just a tough sequence today, and a really, really good one, though? I mean, we got some really good races, this one to kick it off. I went a trifecta box here. I think it's a perfect race for it. I went 6, 7, 8, 9 trifecta box to kick it off. I did put Campanelli on top. I just felt like this horse, if you remember, she had a lot of hype going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly and Mare, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf, and didn't run horrible, but just kind of ran in the same place the whole way around, got 4th, only beaten 4 3/4. Maybe the horse just didn't like the 2 turns because the horse had been sprinting and winning overseas before that race. Stays here in the United States, stays with Wesley Ward. We're back to sprinting today. She obviously is the one to beat, right? So also gets Rosario aboard. And Wesley Ward winning a ton of races, not with his 2-year-olds like normal, but with all of his other horses. So I think Campanelli will be ready to go. I do like that horse on top. Toby's Heart, the 7 horse. Yeah. I think this is another one cutting back in distance. Going to be pretty tough today. Tried going 2 turns last time out. It didn't go well, but her sprint races as a 2-year-old were really good. So the 7 and the 8 were my top 2 out of that 6, 7, 8, 9 trifecta box.
I'm going to use Campanelli for 2 things. One, they need to do, and I think I speak for all horse racing fans, we need to put the phonetics for these names underneath. Campanelle. It has to be simple. I'm sick and tired. This is I meant to ask Rachel this yesterday. I'm sick and tired of not knowing how to say a horse's name or anything like that. So let's get that. Let's work on that. That's one. So I think the horse's name is Campanelle. I'm with you though. She is the horse to beat, but I question the layoff a little bit. And they gave her a chance at a mile. I don't really know what that was, other than the fact that they were just trying to get her for some more money. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf last year. She is undefeated sprinting. And she did it. She broke her maiden here and then went to Ascot, then went to some track in France. I have no idea how to pronounce that. But I want to beat her, and I'm going to use 3 other horses. Now, this is the key to the sequence for me. If I beat her, then I knock a lot of people out. If I can't beat her, I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, praying I get a price somewhere else, which I'm not really doing. I'm going to use the 3 Carimba. To your point, Wesley Ward, why put her in this spot if she didn't have a chance? And Aaron and I have talked about this. We've discussed this theory. 2 horses in a stakes race, always make sure you use the higher price. Now, if you like the lower price, also include the lower price. But I 8-1 on Carimba, that he might have something with this filly, and a Cantheras filly at that, great pedigree as well to sprint. Irad Ortiz gets aboard a horse that ran an allowance race. Looks a little too good to be true. How about the 6 New Boss? I don't know. New Boss looks like an absolute stud running on the turf. I don't like the fact Adam Beschizza continues to ride, but Brett Calhoun knows what he's doing. I mean, she makes sense. I'm with you a little bit on Toby's Heart. It just kind of seems to me that race again in the Bolton Landing, something happened there, and then they gave her a 2-turn turf route. I don't like that angle. I don't know what happened. And then I used the 9, Going Good. It's an Oaklawn runner, but this horse is undefeated on the turf. And if you like New Boss, you're gonna like Going Good. So I'm gonna try to beat her, Aaron. I might be off my rocker, but I'm going to use Campanelle just to try to get by, but I really think I can get a price home. Are there any horses that I used that maybe you're interested in, or a horse you were like, I wish I used and just couldn't get to? I know you talked about Toby's Heart a little bit, but you're in the same boat though. You're going a try box also. You think Campanelle might be a prime for an upset? Yeah,
and even if the 8 wins, hey, there's going to be prices underneath. I still think it's going to pay well. I'm really interested in Going Good. I really am, because the source, shout out to Rachel again, broke the maiden in Indiana, goes over to Fairgrounds and wins a turf allowance sprint and beats New Boss, who I also used. Listen, went to Oaklawn, tried the dirt, ran second, beating the length over the slop. I mean, so, like that, what does that mean for today's race? Nothing. I mean, totally different conditions. And I give him credit for going over there and trying to win a stakes race. Back to where she wants to be today. I think Going Good, if we can get 8-1, that would be incredible here. So, I'm excited to watch this one. I'll have to pull over on the side of the road somewhere and at about 3:15 and turn this one on. So it's going to be a really good race.
Yeah, I was going to say, Aaron, don't do it. I've watched, and I shouldn't be saying this on the air, I've watched too many horse races trying to drive. They're really short. This one's going to be like not even a minute or about a minute. You're better off just pulling over and enjoying it. I'm with you there. Let's go to race 8, an allowance race for 4-year-olds and upward. I wish I started because you got the nice turf sprint. So I'll take this one, the allowance race. We're going to have an entry in here, Schmoozin, the 1, and the 1A, Wild Behavior. I believe they're both staying in. This is not a normal coupled entry where one's and also eligible, so we should have both in. The scratches were announced on the Keeneland website, so I believe that this horse will stay in. Maybe something happens late. I couldn't wait to play against Godzilla, to be brutally honest. So I went with the 3 and the 5. The 3 is Aloha West. Ran into some really nice horses at Oaklawn against winners. I didn't really love the maiden race, but it was over a muddy track. And to be honest, not the biggest Jareth Loveberry fan of all time. So the fact he's going to get Florent Giroux here, I think is huge. Now, granted, maybe Flo didn't have any other mounts, but still a massive upgrade. And I don't care what his win percentage is, Giroux's at this point. Like, we all know he's fantastic. I don't care about that. But this horse closed some ground against American Mandate and Kadri last time out. And an allowance race that honestly might be just as good as this one. I'll be brutally honest. And I usually don't say that about Oaklawn races when moving to Keeneland. They really do like this horse. And I think Wayne Catalano, you maybe could speak to that a little bit better. Wayne Catalano is a really quality trainer who doesn't get as much love, but he's a really, really good trainer. And I love when he brings some horses to Saratoga in the summertime. The other horse for me was Answer In. I really want to use this horse on top, but here's why. Look at how many times he's been a favorite and is disappointed. So am I going to be that sucker who uses him again? Yeah, I am, because I do think he's talented. But I think sprinting might be best for him. And I don't know what all these 2-turn races were about. I have no idea. But I believe getting back to 6.5 furlongs, maybe even 7 furlongs at Saratoga, maybe later on in the meet. So that's who I want. So I'm going to use the 3 and the 5. I see here you used a little exacta box as well. So maybe touch on the 3 and the 5 and your third horse that we didn't talk about.
Yeah, I hate this field. This is a tough one, right? You just kind of survive and advance type. Yeah, the 3 and the 5, I certainly agree with you on. I just feel like those two horses fit best. You look at Aloha West, the one thing you kind of like about him, he hasn't been like disappointing like Answer In has been. Like, he hasn't had time to be disappointing either. But, one on debut at Oaklawn at a maiden special weight at 9-1, that's not an easy race to win, right? And Mighty Mischief came back to win and, was going to run on the Arkansas Derby card. Then last time out, lost to American Mandate, Cadre, Breaking News. These are decent horses, So I think he fits pretty well here. You look at the pace setup, should fit pretty well for a closer. You look at the track, how it's playing at Keeneland. It's favoring closers better than normal. So I think Aloha West makes sense. Answer In, for my purposes, he's going to be there. I don't know if he can finish off a race or not, but he's going to be around. So, I thought Answer In, Aloha West, they're both 7-2. That makes sense to play those two in an exacta. They're not the favorites, so we like that. And then I threw in the 6 Growl Tiger. It could just be a light bulb went off for Growl Tiger last time out. This horse really wasn't doing much running. Gets at Tampa, and I don't love Tampa horses, but he just kind of dominated that race. And then Luis Saez rode this horse 2 back. He's back on today. I think it was enough for say, let's throw Growl Tiger in there. Maybe he can get in one of those top 2 spots. I think somebody mentioned Godzilla. I took a small shot against.
Yeah, I was going to get to those comments now.
Yeah.
I actually want to talk about the one that Campanelle 5 furlong, 57-second work. I've never seen that before either. Mm-hmm. But I will say Wesley Ward always has his runners going extremely quick in the morning. Now that's just what he does. Some trainers don't care as much. Some do. Wesley Ward. Have you ever seen 57 seconds for 5 furlongs? I've seen 57 and 4. I've seen 58. If this is a true 57 flat, that might be the fastest 5 furlong that I've ever witnessed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's incredibly, incredibly fast. And then Nick goes, Godzilla beats Sprawl in his maiden. Sprawl's expected to run so well versus Night Ops. Yeah, and we'll talk about Godzilla right now, I guess. You're okay. I'm going to be brutally honest. You're supposed to beat Running with Scissors in your allowance race at Aqueduct. You're supposed to. You really, really are. And I don't care that it was off the layoff. You're supposed to do that. And this horse has not been the same since we saw him as a 2-year-old in 2019. He was really good, and I thought he ran well in the Hopeful because a lot of people, including Aaron and those guys who do the Kentucky Derby Trail, at that moment, they thought Basin and Shoplifted were pretty good horses as 2-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And they saw Tis the Law and the Champagne and thought he was really good as a 2-year-old, and he was really good as a 3-year-old as well. But we're like, okay, fine. Then at 4-5 in his race at Keeneland, the first one of 2020, he was straight hot garbage. Now, there's something wrong as to why this horse can't run consistently, Aaron, because too many layoffs for me. This horse, I hate to say it, this horse is like, with a bad race here, he's a high claimer. He's a 50,000 claimer, which is really sad for a horse that was a favorite in the Hopeful as a 2-year-old. Yeah. I mean, I want nothing to do with this horse. He looks like he's just trending the wrong way for me.
Yeah, I was there the day he broke his maiden at Saratoga. I think I'm in the win picture with him, actually.
I was there too. Wait, you were there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was there when he broke his maiden.
I was there also. Maybe I saw you.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been. I don't know. I don't remember seeing you, but yes, I was there, and I was sitting with a couple people that knew the owners very well, and they thought, oh boy, this could be a really, really good horse. It's went the opposite way, and it's went the opposite way so much that I don't want him in the exacta box here.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. I hate to say it, but this horse is just going the wrong way, and I'm not gonna take a horse like that at a short price. So I mean, maybe if there was some value, but Aaron and I are on the same page. He goes, my Godzilla comment was joking.
Yeah, he was kidding around.
And then Jared says he's talking about my man Flintstone. I have nothing to add. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
Other than Corey Lannery's doing well, but again, we've talked about it. Like, if Corey Lannery's getting on Justify, then fine. But I don't believe my man Flintstone is Justify, and it doesn't really matter who the jockey is if the horse isn't very good. So
I mean, as a closer, bottom of the super maybe.
Fair enough, but at the same time, it's like if we're making a case for him, then we should be making a case for everyone. So,
right. That's fair. Yeah.
Like I'm not going to sit here and do that. Let's do the Makers Mark Mile, grade 1 for 4-year-olds and upward. All right, again, your turn. Aaron's getting all the good races, so I guess it's his type of day. It's good luck. 4-year-olds and upward going 1 mile on the turf. And this might be the race of the weekend in my book. I know Aaron might give me an Oaklawn race because that's where he's going, but this is one of them, and I think you can make a case for everyone. What are you thinking here? Are we going back to the Chad Brown, Sacred Life, or Raging Bull, or are we going to try to beat Chad on the turf?
Well, I went with a trifecta box here, 3, 4, 8, and 9, and I won't mess around with saying this is the race of the weekend. I won't even stick up for Oaklawn, even though, we've got like a matchup of Whitmore and CZ Rocket that's amazing. As a race, this is amazing. I did use a Chad Brown horse on top. I did use the 4 Sacred Life on top. I think this is the one that has kind of the more, positive trending form. In comparison to Raging Bull, who I did use in the try, but more of that 3rd or 4th spot is where I'm thinking he's going to run. But Sacred Life coming off of a little bit of a layoff, but that's never a problem with Chad Brown horses. At his best, I think he's really good. And, you look at some of he hasn't ran a mile since since coming over to the United States for Chad Brown. But some of his best races over in Europe were early on in his career when he was going 7 furlongs or a mile. So I kind of like the cutback. I thought that was a big key. I see a lot of speed in here, and I think this is probably the best closer in the race. So I do think Sacred Life is going to be tough to hold off. Like I said, with Raging Bull, I've got him involved, but I couldn't tell you to back that horse to win. One speed horse that I do like, that I do think can stay the trip because he's proven it when he's running at these kind of distances, is the 3 Some Like It Hot Brown. So I got him involved. I just think he's going to be one that's going to be tough to pass. I love that Velasquez gets aboard here. I can trust that he is going to work out a decent trip. And then for the other horse, I used the 9 Field Pass. I just feel like the price is going to be right. I think he's going to be ignored a little bit because there's a lot of different ways you can go. I think he's going to float up to double digits. I think he's a great hit the board candidate. Can he win? Maybe, maybe not. It gets a little shaky. But as far as hitting the board at a price, I can definitely see it with this 9 horse. So I got him involved as well. This is going to be a monster try if it comes in. So 3, 4, 8, and 9 for my trifecta.
For the record, for everyone interested in playing this sequence, we encourage you to do so if you can. You have to leave someone off. There's no way, unless you want to hit the all button and you get crushed with a favorite or a short price, you got to leave someone off. So I'm going to leave a couple of horses that Aaron did used, and I'm going to use Sacred Life, and I'm going to cross him off. The problem, I don't even mind the layoff, but this horse just seems to come up just a little bit short. Like, he will be flying. It's just like, I don't want a horse that's going to be that far back when I think a lot of good horses are going to be a little bit closer. I'm with you. I use the 3, though. Some Like It Hot Brown. First of all, great name, but I love the fact he can get to the lead. He's a little inconsistent too. Like, I don't know what that was in the Fort Lauderdale, but I did chalk that up to maybe he just had a long campaign. And we talked about this with Skydiver. We talked about this with some horses. Some Like It Hot Brown just ran so many races. Maybe he just needed a few months. Mm-hmm. And he's 5. It's not like he's 8 where we're making this assumption. At 5, and Aaron knows this better than a lot of horses, like especially on the turf, like 5 and 6 are when they're best. Like, that's when they're the most mature. And I'm with you. I like that horse, and Johnny V should give him a perfect ride. Also, great spot. How about the 1, Get Smokin'? Aaron, if you take domestic spending off of his resume, he just wins races. And even in the last domestic spending race at Del Mar in the Hollywood Derby, he finished 4th to domestic spending, Smooth Like Straight, and Guffaw. I'm not the biggest Smooth Like Straight fan. I think he belongs in California, but nonetheless, he didn't lose to him by that much. That was a really blanket finish. And even in the comment, it says yielded late. So this horse did all the dirty work, 98% of it, and gets caught pretty much at the wire. That horse, and it's your buddy, Junior Alvarado. I think this horse is too high of a price not to use him. I used the 8 Raging Bull. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm so back and forth on Raging Bull. I figured using 1 Chad Brown had to be done. You're going to use both, and I can't blame you. But I think using 0 is a wrong play in my book. So I'm going to use 1. We're going to find out if this horse is anything left, because if he runs the race that he did in the Shadwell Turf, he's going to win this race against Evar. He finished 2nd. If he runs the race in the Breeders' Cup Mile, Grade 1 at Keeneland, he might finish 5th. Because this is a true Grade 1, and also used the 2 road. He just wins. I'm not sure he's good enough. He won a Grade 1 against Smooth Like Straight, which again I don't really like Smooth Like Straight anyway. But he is winning, and Florent Giroux will try to get aboard. He was aboard in that race. This is looking for his 5th win. I don't want to keep him off. The only thing about the 9 Field Pass that I wanted to talk about is I'm not sure who he's ever beaten. Like, I really did like Field Pass a lot in the Saratoga Derby. I wanted to give him a shot, and he finished 7th by 3, but I looked at 8-1 on him versus the 1 Get Smokin', and I'll take the 1 on Get Smokin'. We didn't talk about the 5 Derain or the 6 Ride a Comet at all. Did you like any of those horses? I mean, it is Brad Cox, Mark Cassidy, Luis Saez, Tyler G. We talked about those horses like they're mules.
Yeah, other than Flying Scotsman, the 7, which I don't see him being able to get the trip, take it gate to wire. The rest of them, go ahead.
If Flying Scotsman wins, I'll do a show outside with no shirt on.
Okay, so we can draw a line through him. But
that
the rest
is 95-1.
Yeah, but like Derain, yes, it's kind of like you said to open off this one. If we leave out a horse that you like, it doesn't mean we don't like the horse. You have to eliminate horses that you like. I mean, and that's what makes a race like this tough. Derain, yeah. Okay, here's the reason why I left Derain off. This is a huge jump up from where the horse has been. So when you're trying to, get in, but like, okay, here's a horse I can eliminate. Here's why. That was a reason why. Am I going to be shocked if Derain wins this race? No, absolutely not. Why did I leave off the 2 Hit the Road? I'm just kind of hoping Hit the Road doesn't ship well to Keeneland. Hoping as far as my ticket, not for the horse. I would be fine if the horse won.
Yeah.
Connections. I love the connections, but you guys know what I'm saying. I left them off because I thought, well, maybe that Santa Anita class won't transfer to Keeneland. But that's the little things you have to do in a race like this. There's a really good chance most of us are going to be wrong and some of us are going to be right here, because it's one of those races where you just kind of have to process of elimination, how you like to handicap, come up with your bet here. It's also a great race to bet because the money is going to be spread out equally through a lot of different horses here, right?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, right? When this is a true Grade 1, one of the things in horse racing that people fail to understand, just because it's listed as grade 1 doesn't make it a grade 1. The horses that are in the race make it a grade 1. And technically, yes, I don't know what Magic would know better. Maybe Aaron, you know. I think it has to do like with money, how much the purse is. That technically makes it a grade 1 or a grade 2. Fair enough. I don't care about that. I could look at the field and say this is a grade 1 race. How about this, Aaron? What if it was just Get Smokin', Sacred Life, Derain, Raging Bull, and Field Pass, and Flying Scotsman? We have a field of 6. And we don't have Hit the Road, we don't have Sacred Life, and we don't have Raging Bull. This isn't a grade 1 race. This is a grade 2 or a grade 3. But because of the quality, it makes it a grade 1. We'll get to a few comments and then we'll hit the last race. I look at trainer stats. What? That was a lot there. He's saying.
Well, hold on. Let me make a comment right now. Okay.
There was just a lot to digest with that. I had a headache reading the comment.
First of all, we come on in here and we talk about 4 set races, the best sequence, the last 4 races at the best track each day. Okay. And you said over here, I'm taking stabs, I'm reaching. Jared, you don't know what you're talking about on this one. This is one of the dumbest comments you've ever made. And I don't care if you get mad and never watch again. That's crazy. Listen to me right now. I built racingdudes.com with my handicapping from scratch. I had no ties in racing when we started. I was just a guy who went to the track once. And we've survived for 10 years on my opinions. So I think I'm all right. Thank you for the advice. I appreciate it. I think I'm all right. Hey, if I think a race sets up for a try, what do you want me to do? I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna play the try. I'm gonna do the best I can. But I think I'll be all right. Thank you for the opinions. And there you go.
I'm not gonna be as mean as Aaron, but what I will say, it's ridiculous. I shouldn't say mean. I should say opinionated. I think that's the better term. To his credit, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his opinions, because there wouldn't be a company. Like, you know, I could have gone out on my own and attempted it. I don't know if it would have, maybe it would have been successful. Maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe some people would have felt bad for a nice 23-year-old man. I don't know. But I wouldn't be working under this company if it wasn't for his opinion, because it wouldn't have existed. And to be brutally honest, I wouldn't even have wanted to be in his shoes 10 years ago, because day in, day out, you're praying that this is going to work out, because you don't know if it's not. Like, luckily it's streamlined and things are working out, and I've joined it very late. I'm the latest.
You know what we're talking about? Don't watch the damn show. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not going to agree with you when you have an opinion and I don't agree with it. What do you want me to say? You know, like yesterday, you were in all caps while Rachel was on talking about the 3-horse in the last race at Keeneland, and you basically said, you guys are crazy. You've missed it. The 3-horse is still running. He hasn't crossed the line yet. But do I get on the next day and make fun of you for it? No, because it's an opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't get it.
No, I'm with you. I'm just laughing because I find it funny. That has nothing to do with me. Nick says Aaron 1, Jared 0. Hey, you know what? Again, we're the first. If you guys want to come on and tell us we're crappy, that's fine. We'll also come on and say your opinions are crappy if we believe it. Like, we don't mind. Like, this is a give and take. Again, this is horse racing. I try to tell all my buddies this. Like, I'm wrong a lot of times, but when I work out the math to get there, maybe my solution is wrong, but this is my thought process, right? People are saying full tilt Aaron. I love watching the show to hear each other's perspective. Yeah, and that Aaron and I look at racing a lot of similar ways, right? And that's just us. But, like, for example, Mike Somich and I don't really see eye to eye on a lot. And sometimes I'm brutally wrong. Sometimes I'm brutally right. Sometimes he's brutally right and he's brutally wrong. Like, that's just the way the sport is. And again, this isn't betting versus a sports book. Like, you have option A, option B, make your pick. Here's the bet. Like, horse racing is all about value, and is your opinion better or stronger than mine? So, or him or her, or older, younger, whatever it is, a group of people, whatever. Vinny says, I'm just here for the comments. Vinny, you know, anytime you want to hop on, Vinny, like actually hop on, you're more than happy. Keyboard jockeys. You know what, Aaron, that should be your name next time out. Keyboard jockeys. I think that's great. You should You guys should change at racing dudes, at racing_dudes to keyboard_jockeys. I would be hilarious. Q, why can't we be friends? Shout out actually to Dr. Miranda. She put together the video for this race today. Was it today? Oh, maybe it was a Philly race. No, it wasn't this race. Let me scroll up. It was maybe the 7th race. I don't know. Yes. She put together a race. It's on my product. So she didn't want to do something for Saturday. I think it's supposed to rain, and she's going to be there. So that's awesome as well. She's hanging out with Mike Somich. I heard through the grapevine. So that's going to be interesting. I have to hear how that's going to work out. Aaron, you stay heated. You stay motivated because we have one more race to go. We almost got streamlined for a minute. We have the final race of the day, race 10, maiden special weight for 3-year-old fillies. And I get, you know what? This is really upsetting because Aaron got 2 good races and I got 2 of the worst races of the 4. Maybe I should have thought about that beforehand. I'll start with number 1. You know what? I'll start with my top choice. Caramel Swirl. I'm close to being done. I'm really close to being done with this one. I love seeing Godolphin, Aaron, with the ownership. Because then what's the first thing you do when you see Godolphin? You have to look to the right and look at the purchase price. Luckily, there is no purchase price because this is a homebred by Union Rag. It seems like, Aaron, we'll spend like $20 on something, or I'll spend $25, and Godolphin's like, no, I'll give you $100. And like, no matter what it is, that's like the way they operate. And the 9, Caramel Swirl is going to try the turf last time out. I think this horse is better on the dirt. She did run against Malathot, and she's run second. Like, I hate this race because I'm going to have to take a short price. The 1, same thing, just run second and third. Past the Champagne. What did Past the Champagne run in last week, Aaron? Do you remember? Was it the Ashland?
Yep. Almost won the Ashland, yeah.
Right, the Ashland. You're right. So that's like a quality race. Losing by 9 isn't that bad. Excuse me. And then I wanted to use the 2, Red Hot and Blue, because we don't really know what she is. She was decent on debut. Not terrible. Going to try going a little bit longer. I chalked out. I'm hoping I just get a price somewhere else and just get through 1, 2, and 9. Oh, Dr. Miranda said it is this legit race. I'm sorry, Dr. Miranda. It is this race. She was talking about Raging Bull, and she obviously had it out because I know she wanted to avoid the weather, which should be coming tomorrow, I believe. So that's why I went 1, 2, 9. I have nothing positive to say about these horses other than I'm praying that a first-time starter doesn't beat me. So and there may be a few, like the 6 Florists, Ben Colebrook, Corey Lannery, like maybe one of them sneaks up, and I'm praying I could just get by. What did you do in this race?
Yeah, this one, you're right. It's not really fair that you get all the bad ones today, but yeah, this is an interesting one. I don't like the first-time starters, so I think you're safe there. I kind of think the 2 Red Hot and Blue could run an improved race today. I used that horse on top. Last time out, 6 furlongs at Gulfstream Park, didn't run horrible. I think we could see some improvement. I like that Joel Rosario gets aboard. So I did use the 2 on top. I did go a 1, 2, 5, 9 trifecta to close us off here. I did use the 2 on top. I don't blame you for using the 9 pretty strong here.
It's more so because I have no idea. I don't know. First, the 9's 0 for 4, finishing second, and the 1 is 0 for 5 with 2 seconds and a third. I don't know. I have no idea.
It kind of seem like this is it for the 9. Like, you got to beat this field or you may not break the maiden.
Yeah, probably. And I'm kind of, to be honest, Aaron, I'm kind of in the same boat with the 1. Like there's no difference to me. 2 to 1 versus 3 to 1. Like, if I were to play it a little differently, which I don't have, I'll just say I don't have the Manscaped jewels, and I'll just leave it at that. I would consider throwing out the 1 or the 9, taking a stand, using the 2 and 1 first-time starter.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have the Manscaped jewels to do that, but I don't blame anyone for doing that, whether it's the 6, whether it's the 4, or even if you want to give maybe the 3 another shot. The 7, I don't think that horse is good enough, to be brutally honest. And that's Vinny's. Well, let's get to a few of the comments.
Well, let me get to one right now. This is really bad news for Jared Bush because I like the 5 as well. I threw the 5 in there as well. I think it's very interesting that the horse debuted for maiden claiming and now is in a maiden special weight. If this is a trainer that is an idiot, has no clue, you're like, well, then this is a terrible spot. But Brendan Walsh knows what he's doing, right? So this spot is interesting to me, and he gets Gaffleone. I thought the 5 at 12-1 was very interesting. I thought one that you had to play in a trifecta. I haven't hit one in maybe 3 years, but I definitely thought this was one you had to throw in. So I'm with you on this one, bud. I think Musical Cat is a very interesting entry in this one. So no, I don't always make fun of your horses, and I don't always disagree with you. Just when I don't agree with you, then I will say I disagree. And when I agree, I'll say I agree, just like I treat every person that comments or watches on the show.
We'll go through all the comments because some of them are funny. You guys, maybe Jared Bush needs a Manscaped total package. I think all males can use the Manscaped total package. Number 2 on Rosario and Shug, yeah. I assume it says Sug, but I assume Nick means Shug. That's fine. We all can't type sometimes. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, the 2 time forms rating was brutal, but you figure this horse is going to get better, and that's more relying on Shug. Maybe this horse just stinks, but maybe we're relying. Shug is never really great with first time out. He doesn't really care. We saw that with what horse, Aaron, on the Kentucky Derby Trail with Shug. Was it Greatest Honor, actually, with Shug?
Yeah. Yep.
Right, he wasn't good and he got much better as a 3-year-old. Like, that happens all the time. Maybe this horse is getting better. We talked about Jared Bush. Would Jared call this a boy? I don't know.
You know what that means? You didn't listen to Blinkers Off. Anytime Jared says boy 3 times, it means that he is not confident in the race or in the horse.
No, I told you I didn't listen to Blinkers Off last night. I said that already. Yeah, I don't listen to it till after. Vinny goes anything with the 7 and Irad. Vinny, I love you, pal. I don't see this horse winning at all. Like, this looks like the type of horse that, like, Chad Brown, Irad, I hope he gets bet down, to be brutal. Like, I can't look to any performance. He's gotten worse. Maybe not worse in every race, but from his debut, he's gotten worse. She's gotten worse, excuse me. The Uncle Mo filly for Peter Brandt and Irad. Luckily, Peter Brandt, I don't want to count people's pockets, but luckily Peter Brandt's got a lot of money to throw around because this was a swing and a miss on $575,000.
I bet you remember when this horse debuted at Saratoga. This horse had a little bit of steam for sure on debut and ran well on debut. And then that next time out at 2-5, this was on, I think this was maybe Kentucky Derby day. This horse showed up with nothing and then hasn't done anything since. But anyway.
No, I'm with you. Like, that horse went off at 1-2 and still hasn't finished that race. That was last summer. Still hasn't finished.
Yeah, it was a bad race.
We'll get to a few more. And my rule on Chad Brown fillies, look for the 3 straight 4. I don't see them. Yeah, if that's a rule that you like to go by, whatever rule you have, that's fine. I didn't know that was a thing, but if that is, I just don't like the horse. Jared says 5. That's how I'll play it. And I do have the Manscaped pack. It's the Peter Brandt. Feel like he's riding because he's also on Raging Bull. I have no idea if that's how it works or not. Just my thought. Hey, you know what? I've heard crazier things before. We talk about this all the time. There'll be good jockeys that get on bad horses for trainers. We saw that a lot at Gulfstream just because they want to make them happy and they want to stay consistent because there's a horse or multiple horses down the road that they want to be on. And sometimes you got to get on a 20,000 claimer. Or not a great maiden horse, just to keep that connection going. Because if you just hop from hop to hop to hop, they're all going to look at these jockeys and say, no. So sometimes you got to ride for bad. And Chad Brown and Irad, like Irad's not going to make, a bad decision with Peter Brandt and Chad Brown just for one race. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Last comment: Gunnet is the biggest whiff. Yeah. Anytime you go $2.6 million and that horse, like, think about it like this: 2.6 million. You're not going to make that up in the purse earnings. It's almost impossible. I would say it's impossible. You have to make that up breeding wise. That's what you're saying. I don't know what the pedigree on Gunnet is, Aaron, but that's the only reason, right? You would ever make a purchase. It's got to be like an Uncle Mo or a Candy Ride, or on the turf side, like a war declaration of war or a war front. Like, you're not putting in that much money just to run the horse. You're hoping the horse is healthy, stays healthy, and gets to the breeding ranks, and then you could start chipping out $50,000, $75,000, and that will get you to where you want to go. So, right, Aaron, I guess that's the thinking there with that type of purchase price.
Yeah, that's. Unfortunately, they get made fun of a lot when that happens, but that's a bad one. That's a bad one.
It's not good.
No,
it's not good.
No.
But that's going to do it for us. All right, I want to spend a few minutes and just throw it to Aaron. I'll take the entries off. Aaron, I have Arkansas Derby Day on mine. You have Hot Springs Brown. What are you looking for, just atmosphere-wise? Is there anything you're just looking forward to, whether it's just standing at the track, whether it's at the winter circle, whether it's having a nice cold one in your hand, whether it's seeing some old friends you haven't seen, or just even enjoying the drive or the ride in the middle of the forest, trying to weave your way in and out of Arkansas. Just kind of tell us your thought process and how excited you are for tomorrow, even if it's not the most anticipated Arkansas Derby of all time.
It's all of the above. It really is. Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Oaklawn Park is definitely where I learned everything I know about racing. It all started right there. I had been, until last year, I had been to every Arkansas Derby since 2007. Of course, last year could not go because of COVID, but it's really nice to be back. It's really nice to kind of restart that tradition. Excited for all of it. Everything about Oaklawn is really special. I have no idea what the atmosphere will be like. I know it's a limited capacity situation, but just to be back in Arkansas and Hot Springs and seeing some guys I hadn't seen in a couple of years will be very, very nice. Really looking forward to it. And like I said, that's without Oaklawn, there probably wouldn't be a Racing Dudes. So that's just kind of how special that place is. So yeah, really looking forward to it. And hopefully we can get a few winners and even make it even better tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm trying to find a picture up here. We'll put this in the background. That's the Arkansas Derby, but it's not even what we're doing. Don't look at these pics, mind you. Just look at that logo. That logo is Aaron, Jared, and Zenyatta. If it wasn't for Zenyatta and Oaklawn, there wouldn't be a company probably. So shout out to Zenyatta and Oaklawn as a whole. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back on Wednesday. And it's going to be our 50th episode, Aaron, which is incredible. We're just cranking them out these days, 3 a week. Maybe we'll do a live stream tomorrow. It sounds like I might be doing it by myself.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody's going to be gone, so I don't know if we'll do one or not tomorrow. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to hop on. I think doing it from there would be incredibly tough, and it would just kind of draw away from your enjoyment on the track. So I'm with you. I wouldn't do one if I was at the track either. Breeders' Cup was a little different because there was no one there, and it was you and Jared. It was, I think, very, very different. But tomorrow would be very tough, and we wouldn't even have these live streams if COVID didn't exist because we would all be at these places. So maybe we would have like the morning shows like we're doing, but we wouldn't have live streams on Saturday. So maybe if I could find one person to hop on with me, I would, but I will not be talking solo for 2 hours. That would be very, very tough, which would stink because I really do like calling races as well. But that's going to do it for us. Good luck to everyone playing Keeneland today. Aaron, good luck and stay safe with your trip in the middle of whatever forest you got to drive through, probably at 20 miles an hour so you don't drive off the road. It's nice here. Hopefully the weather cooperates this weekend. It's supposed to rain in New York, I believe, on Sunday, which would make sense since it was raining in Chicago and it's supposed to be raining at Keeneland. So that weather's tracking this way. But this is it, folks. Kentucky Derby Trail is over after Saturday. So take a look at the Kentucky Derby rankings that Aaron will put out, I'm guessing Monday morning or some Sunday night, whatever, something like that. And that will be it. That will be his rankings. The only time they'll get adjusted, I'm guessing, is if a horse is out. But once that's it, that's it. As long as training goes well and there's nothing crazy like a horse gets hurt, that's going to be it. And we'll have to sit on those rankings by that point. It would be like 19 days, something like that, because I'm sure they'll come out like April 12th. And then the Derby's May 1st. We're still holding out hope that I'm at the Derby this year. It's not looking great. I'll admit it's not looking great. But who knows? Maybe we can. But that's it, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and good luck if you're playing Keeneland today. Maybe you'll see me tomorrow by myself or hopefully with a guest. Aaron, good luck at Oaklawn. I'm sure I'll be getting plenty of texts. Let's try to make some money today and end this Kentucky Derby trail. It's always a long one. Kentucky Oaks as well. It's always a long one. It's a stressful one sometimes, but it's all coming to an end. We're like 98% of the way there. The Lexington Stakes and the Arkansas Derby at Oaklawn. Everyone take care. We will see you guys Wednesday for episode 50 of the Rocket Hour. Take care, everyone. Have a good weekend.